Faces in a crowd. Behind each one is a unique individual with his or her own social, family, and personal history. Out of the crowd will come people whose pattern of drug or alcohol use, for one reason or another, brings them into contact with you as a therapist. In this series of videos, we assume that as a therapist, your aim is to increase your client's commitment to change and to help him or her set goals and adopt an appropriate personal strategy for altering a pattern of drug or alcohol use. We'll follow a program of treatment between a client and therapist and present a number of important interviewing skills and techniques that you may use in your work.
Hi, I'm Lisa Conley.
Lisa has been referred to our treatment program by a community health care worker. Today, she is attending her first appointment. A full assessment of her alcohol and drug use will be conducted. Before meeting each of her clients, therapist Carol Moore reviews the information provided by the referral source and determines what additional information is needed.
For me, the assessment session is also really the beginning of treatment. It's important that I'm as familiar as possible with the client's background and presenting situation before he or she walks through the door. I assume that some clients may have ambivalent feelings about changing their use of drugs or alcohol. There are both costs and benefits to change. My role is to help them enhance their commitment to change. The aim is to help clients help themselves. Before we start, I want to explain that anything you tell me is completely confidential. There are, however, a few exceptions which may require information to be released. One exception is
the approach used by Carol relies heavily on the self-reporting of information by the client. Emphasizing the confidentiality of all information provided serves to increase the validity of this approach.
Second, there are a few situations which legally oblige us to release information. For example, if I would suspect that you might be of harm to yourself or to others, or if there would be cause for concern regarding the welfare of a child. Do you have any questions?
Nope. I understand.
Okay, now, before we begin your assessment, I'd like to give you a breath alcohol test. This is something we ask of all new clients at their assessment, and the reason we do so is that we found we get more accurate information from people when they're interviewed alcohol-free.
Yeah, I know what a breath test is. But I still don't understand why you do it.
I understand why you'd be surprised that
in the majority of cases, clients will have no objection to taking a breathalyzer test.
Is as accurate as possible.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, now you just blow into the tube at the top. Big breath and blow. Given that each client comes to an initial session with different expectations, one of the first things I do when I meet with my clients is to make sure I understand their needs. It's important that I get a clear understanding of what their expectations of treatment are and make sure that the program we offer is compatible with their needs. So I describe the program in detail and get the client's feedback. Let me tell you a little bit about what we'll be doing. Today we'll be getting a detailed picture of your alcohol and drug use. This will be useful in
during the assessment and treatment appointments. Carol will be using a variety of motivational interviewing techniques to enhance and maintain Lisa's commitment to change. Carol begins by asking Lisa an open-ended question. Such questions encourage clients to explore their concerns by actively participating in the sessions. By using this technique, therapists avoid the yes-no question-answer trap. Rather than asking clients, "Do you have a substance use problem?" let's listen to what the therapist says.
So, what brought you here today?
Well, I've been having a little bit of a problem with my boyfriend. He's concerned, and I'm concerned too, that I've been drinking too much. I mean, it hasn't been a problem before, but now I am spending a bit too much money and it's interfering with work, so I need to do something about it.
What other concerns do you have about your use of alcohol?
I just feel I have to do something about it. I mean, it's happening more often, and I'm going more overboard with it. A few times I haven't gone home, and Danny, my boyfriend, he just goes nuts.
So it seems your drinking is coming between you and your boyfriend. It's affecting your work. It's causing you to spend too much money, and the drinking is increasing.
Well, that's it.
Carol has used another key technique of motivational interviewing, reflective listening. She's attempted to rephrase what the client has said to make sure she understands the client's concerns. Statements such as these are more likely to promote further dialogue.
So you feel that Danny's change in attitude towards alcohol is causing a problem in your relationship?
Well, it makes me angry. I mean, I know that I am drinking more, but I get upset that when I want to talk to him about it, he comes down on me even harder. I mean, it's not like I want to mess things up for us. I just like to go out and have a good time.
And the alcohol helps you have this good time?
Yeah.
What other concerns do you have about your drinking?
Last month, I missed work a couple of days due to hangovers.
Okay, let me just summarize and you let me know if I leave anything out, okay? What you've told me so far is that, on the one hand, you're upset because your drinking is generating
A
conflict.
summary of the client's comments can also be an important technique during the session.
The fact that it's increasing, and you've started missing days at work. On the other hand, you enjoy going out and socializing, and
This
your use of
technique
alcohol
allows you
is
to
part of
link
that aspect
together
of your
the
life.
material that's been
that's about
discussed, and in this case,
Sounds kind of
Carol
nice,
has
doesn't it?
also used
I
it
mean,
to
on the one
point
hand,
out
I like
Lisa's
to drink.
ambivalence about
There's no
changing
doubt
her
about
use.
And it's not like I'm a heavy drinker or anything.
The purpose of open-ended questions, reflective listening, and summary statements is to enhance commitment to change. These techniques alone are not sufficient, though. The client needs to take personal responsibility for change. A motivational interviewing technique I use to achieve this goal is to elicit self-motivational statements from the client. The statement may indicate recognition of a problem, expression of concern about the problem, intentions to change, awareness of the discrepancy between where a person is and where they want to be, or confidence about making and maintaining change.
Hearing you put it together, I realize alcohol is causing a lot of problems. I really do want to look at making some changes. I want to do something about it.
I can see that. How did you come to this decision at this time?
I really love Danny. We were arguing about my drinking a while back, and he just got up and walked out. He didn't come back till the next day.
Saving your relationship with Danny is more important than drinking.
Yeah, it scares me.
In the remainder of this first session, Carol will continue her assessment of the client.
I just recognize that I want to make some changes.
Good. And you have the choice to make those.
She'll administer a number of assessment tools that will provide information that can give her a running start on treatment.
We just take it from here. Great. There are a number of assessment tools that I use with each client. These tools have been found to have excellent clinical utility because they not only collect information, but more importantly, they provide direction for treatment. For clients who haven't spent much time thinking about their use of alcohol or drugs and whose use hasn't seriously disrupted their lives, just completing an assessment can be an illuminating and motivating experience.
Lisa has completed her assessment and is returning for her first treatment session. Between appointments, she's been given homework and has been asked to keep a daily log of her alcohol use. Her therapist has prepared for this session by analyzing the results of one of the assessment tools, the alcohol use calendar.
Now let's take a few minutes to review the results of the calendar about your drinking you completed on the computer at the assessment. And now the first page is a printout of the amount of drinking you've reported in the past year. As you can see on the second page, the number of drinks you consume per day ranges between 1 and 10. On days that you do drink, you drink an average of 7 drinks per day. On a weekly basis, your average is 35 drinks.
Wow, 35 drinks sounds high. But everybody else I know drinks about the same as I do.
Here's a chart on the national drinking norms. It shows the number of drinks that women throughout the country drink in a given week. You drink 35 drinks per week. Where does this fit in?
Well, it looks like I'm in the top 1%. How can that be? Like I mentioned earlier, all my friends drink about the same.
What do you think about this?
I like to drink with friends, so I guess I've had a tendency to hang with people who do the same.
The timeline also gives clients important feedback on other aspects of their drinking. For example, they learn how much money they spend on alcohol in a year, the number of calories per drinking day, and health risks. For clients with drug problems other than alcohol, the timeline reveals whether or not they used on a given day. At this time, however, quantifying drug use other than alcohol is much harder.
At this point in the session, I'll have each client complete a drinking goal statement. In discussing the client's statement, it's important to assess his or her commitment to the goal. My emphasis is on evaluating the feasibility and reasonableness of the goal for the particular client. Now that we've looked at what your drinking has been like in the past year, what's your current drinking goal?
I'd like to be able to have 2 drinks 3 times a week, mainly on the weekends when I'm with Danny. And I'm going to try to not drink with my friends during the week because I tend to get carried away.
You checked off a 75% importance rate for your goal. How did you arrive at this?
Well, my relationship with Danny is really important to me, and I realize that if I don't make some changes, I could lose him. But the most important thing in my life right now is achieving my own personal career goals. I'm thinking about going back to school, and I have to save some money.
How confident are you in achieving this goal?
I'm about 60% confident at this point. I really like my social life.
Clients who seek to pursue a reduced drinking goal should be provided with a set of recommended guidelines. And under certain circumstances, clients are strongly advised to abstain. These circumstances include being pregnant, having certain medical conditions, and taking medications.
There are guidelines for healthful drinking, and if you can do that, the credit's entirely yours.
Well, because I'm coming here, I guess the importance of the goal should be 100%. There are just too many other things that are more important.
To summarize, you would like to have 2 drinks 3 times a week. Your goal is within recommended guidelines. You've chosen to drink in relatively low-risk situations, on the weekend with Danny. You'd like to avoid high-risk situations with your friends. On the one hand, you say it is quite important to change your drinking to save the relationship with Danny. On the other hand, you're not quite sure what changes you're willing to make to your social life, and this is affecting your confidence rating.
When you put it that way, I can see I'm still hesitant to make changes.
Well, one of the homework exercises that I gave you after the last session looked at the costs and the benefits of making these changes, and that might help explain your hesitation. If you were to meet your goal, what benefits would you experience?
Well, my relationship with Danny would improve, and I'd have more money. And I'd be more motivated to meet my career goals. I spend too much time recovering from blowouts with my friends, and I'm wasting a lot of money at the bars. So I'd have more time and money to take courses so that I could get to where I want to go with my career.
You mentioned you've wasted a lot of time. What other costs are there for continuing the pattern of drinking you had last year?
Money arguments with Danny, and the terrible feeling I'm left with after one of our blowouts, and the lack of energy. Every time I do it, I say I'll never do it again, and then it's the same old thing.
So, if you continue the same type of drinking pattern we've reviewed in the calendar, you'll waste time and money, your relationship will be in jeopardy, and you'll have to deal with that morning after feeling. If you make these changes, your relationship with Danny will improve, you'll have more money, and you'll be able to work towards your personal career goals.
Yeah, that's right. And I won't feel lousy the next morning.
People usually don't behave in certain ways unless there is a payoff. You stated earlier that after every blowout you always say you'll never do it again, but you always do. What are some of the good things that lead you back to drinking?
When I drink, I'm usually always with my friends at this bar we go to. And if I didn't meet them there, I would never see them. And I have a really good time. And there's no way that I could go there and not drink, because everybody's always buying each other drinks.
Okay, so I can see that there are some good reasons why you drink. What are some of the costs of changing your drinking? What will you be giving up?
I'd have to give up the bar scene. My whole social life revolves around it. I might feel like an outsider if I don't go drinking with the people from work. And I'd miss that lightheaded feeling I get from drinking after work. It helps me wind down.
So, by changing, you'll be giving up the good things about drinking.